Manila Paul, and this is News at 10, making the headlines tonight. Almost 10,000 candidates score straight A in SPM. And too many political discussions divert efforts on rakyat issues. A total of 9,696 candidates scored excellent results of A+, A and A- in all subjects in the Sijil Pelajaran Malaysia SPM 2021 examination. In announcing the SPM results today, Director General of Education Dato' Nur Zamani Abdul Hamid said the national average grade GPN for this year was 4.86. The GPN in 2020 was 4.8, 4.86 in 2019, 4.89 in 2018, 4.9 in 2017 and 5.05 in 2016. A lower GPN value indicates better performance.
Sukacita saya memaklumkan bahawa GPN bagi peperiksaan SPM 2021 adalah 4.86 mata. Sebanyak 55.29% calon lulus sekurang-kurangnya semua mata pelajaran yang diduduki pada SPM 2021.
According to Dato' Nur Zamani, 336,630 or 88.09% of the total 407,097 registered candidates were eligible to be awarded the SPM certificate. She added 975 or 69.1% of the 1,411 candidates with special needs were also eligible to be awarded the certificate. When asked if she was satisfied with the SPM 2021 results, Dato' Nur Zamani said, in general, it was an encouraging result because the candidates were the first cohort to follow the secondary school standard curriculum KSSM in Form 1 in 2017. She also said that the candidates went through a challenging learning experience in the new norms while they were in Form 4 and Form 5 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Meanwhile, the Education Ministry, MOE, will conduct a study to find out the reasons why 10,681 registered candidates did not sit for the SPM 2021 examination. Senior Education Minister Dr. Raji Didin said it is important to identify the reasons as the SPM 2021 cohort was the most affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Elaborating further, Dr. Raji said the ministry is analysing the data and will check the trends of previous years. He said if there is a rising trend, the ministry will decide on the appropriate measures to avoid recurrence in the future.
Ada pelbagai sebab. Ada yang sebab peribadi, ada pelbagai sebab yang kita dapati. Kebanyakannya adalah anak-anak ini mempunyai sebab-sebab peribadi, sebab-sebab keluarga, dan banyaklah sebab yang membawa kepada keputusan mereka untuk tidak menduduki SPM.
Dr. Raji also said school administrators had always approached students and families who were identified to have difficulties that have prevented them from sitting for examinations, especially SPM. Having too many discussions for the date of 15 general election will affect country's political stability. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said it will divert government's priority from solving pressing issues faced by the rakyat, such as inflation and the rising cost of living.
Politik hari ini masih stabil dan ini membolehkan kerajaan terus menumpukan perhatian untuk memulihkan ekonomi negara, menyelesaikan isu kenaikan harga, menyelesaikan isu bekalan yang ini merupakan fenomena bukan setakat di Malaysia tetapi fenomena global seluruh dunia. Semua Prime Minister tak bincangkan soal pilihan raya di khalayak ramai. Jadi ini memberi kesan kepada kestabilan politik juga. kalau kita terlalu membincangkan soal pelanggan ini.
The Prime Minister said this after the launching of the Mass Rapid Transit MRT Putrajaya line at Kampung Baru MRT station in Kuala Lumpur earlier today. During the event, Dato' Sri Masari also announced 1-month free rides on all public transport operated by Rapid KL, namely MRT, Light Rail Transit LRT, Bus Rail Transit BRT, Monorail and Rapid KL buses starting today in celebration of the line's opening. Apart from public transport operated by Rapid KL, KTM Commuter will also offer free rides in the Klang Valley within the same period. The Premier said the government would have to spend 155 million ringgit in fare subsidies during the free ride period. The Rapid Rail Kerana Jaya line train frequencies are expected to improve by August this year. Transport Minister Dato' Sri Dr. Wee Ka Siong said this is because more trains will be fixed and upgraded for the public use. Elaborating further on the matter, Dato' Sri Dr. Wee said the frequency will be improved from the current timing that could reach up to 8 minutes between trains to at least 5 minutes in August.
Sebab itulah untuk tempoh sekarang sampai Ogos, kita harap dia akan dipulihkan, ya, mana pembaikan sedang dibuat, dipulihkan sehingga 5 minit. Okay, itu dalam keadaan di mana kalau dulu, saya kata berapa hari ini berlaku bila 8 minit. Bila 8 minit saja, dia akan menyebabkan banyak isu-isu yang berkaitan, kemudian ada yang kelewatan dihubungkan ke perkhidmatan yang lain.
The minister also expressed hope in achieving the target of ideal frequency of 3 minutes in November. He added that the reduction of frequency was due to some train sets having to go through maintenance as part of preventive measures to avoid any horrible incidents in the future.
But to us, it must be operational.
Various mechanisms are being worked out to ensure aid reaches its targeted groups, as consumers are expected to pay more for chicken when the ceiling price scheme ends on 30th June. Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Minister Dato' Sri Alexander Nantalingi said the Finance Ministry is looking into the initiatives and he expected a multi-approach would be adopted in giving out the subsidy. Dato' Sri Alexander explained that the government is trying to depart from giving blanket subsidy as it is not the best way to aid the people. He said the aid mechanism is expected to be in place before the chicken ceiling price ends at the end of the month, after which prices are determined by demand and supply. He added that it was not feasible to have the ceiling price policy be enforced for too long, as it would affect the industry.
Seharusnya kita hentikan harga maksima dan kita bantu pengguna yang berpendapatan rendah ni secara lain, bukan lagi subsidi secara pukal. Kita akan beri bantuan keuangan kepada yang kita anggap sebagai mereka yang lebih tersasar lah.
Despite the ceiling price scheme coming to an end, he said industry players and producers should not indiscriminately put a price tag on chicken. He said there should not be elements of profiteering or actions will be taken by the authorities. The Ministry of Agriculture and Food Industries, MAFI, is ready to revise and improve its action plans involving food commodities to raise the self-sufficiency level to ensure Malaysia's food security. Minister Dato' Sri Dr. Ronald Kiandi said the move involved the National Agro-Food Policy 2.0 and the National Food Security Policy, especially with the country having to face challenging post-pandemic situations for the first time. Explaining further, he said recent developments involving geopolitical conflicts, including the Russia-Ukraine war and the impact of border closures during the COVID-19 pandemic, had given rise to the need for improvements. He noted that the latest developments add to the challenges to the country's food supply chain, adding that the issue does not only arise in Malaysia but also around the world. Thus, he said the ministry is ready to improve the action plans that it had made in a less challenging situation and adapt them to the current challenging scenario. At the same time, the minister said the government had successfully addressed the effects of supply chain disruptions as well as prevented the country from facing an extreme crisis situation. The huge development gap between states must be addressed immediately to allow Malaysia achieve the Keluarga Malaysia objective. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Economy, Datuk Seri Mustafa Mohamad said Sabah, Sarawak, Kelantan and Kedah recorded slow development in terms of employment and revenue compared to other states.
In 2020, the GDP per capita gap between the central region of the country, namely the Klang Valley, Negeri Sembilan and Melaka, as compared to Sabah and Sarawak, were 2.7% and 1.3% respectively. In the 12th Malaysia Plan, we have made it our aim to reduce the gap to 2.5% for Sabah and 1.2% for Sarawak. This is a modest goal which I believe we can achieve.
Datuk Seri Mustafa said his ministry also implemented the Keluarga Malaysia Hardcore Poverty Eradication Program, which utilizes innovative approach in addressing poverty issue. The first phase will cover 80 localities by prioritizing the states which have the highest poverty rates. He said this in a recorded speech at the launch of the Malaysia Economic Monitor June 2022 reports, Catching Up, Inclusive Recovery and Growth for Lagging States by the World Bank. Muslim lifestyle application, Yakin, developed by the Malaysian Muslim Consumers Association, PPIM, is seen able to help users identify services that are not only misleading but are also fraudulent. Science, Technology and Innovation Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Adham Baba said the application, which was jointly developed with Crescent Digital Sendirian Berhad, will assist consumers to be more vigilant before conducting any transaction to avoid being a victim of a scam. Datuk Seri Dr. Adham said through Yakin, consumers can access a variety of services offered by PPIM, such as complaints about consumer affairs, donations and all sorts of latest information from PPIM easily using their smartphones. He said the Yakin application is seen as able to empower consumers, especially Muslim businessmen, to drive local high-value innovation, which is capable of contributing to the country's digital economy.
Jadi dalam hala tuju kerajaan untuk menjadikan negara kita high-tech nation 2030, kita mengalu-alukan lebih banyak aplikasi-aplikasi dibangunkan, terutama sekali aplikasi yang ada kaitan dengan pengguna.
Datuk Seri Dr. Adham also expressed hope that Yakin application can be turned into an e-commerce platform selling fair-priced products for the benefit of consumers in the future. Coming up next, $670 million deposited into Datuk Seri Najib's account. Stay tuned. A banker today told the Kuala Lumpur High Court that almost $670 million were transferred into Datuk Seri Najib Tun Razak's personal account, involving 5 transactions made between 2011 to 2013 from an account belonging to Prince Faisal Tuki Al Saud. M-Bank's SWIFT unit manager Wedani Senan said the transactions were made via the International Funds Transfer System, SWIFT. The 29th prosecution witness said $20 million were transferred into Datuk Seri Najib's account via 2 transactions on 24th February 2011 and 14th June 2011. The witness also testified that on 30th October 2012 and 19 November 2012, almost $30 million were transferred from Blackstone Asia Real Estate Partners, a company owned by fugitive businessman Low Teck Joe, into the former Premier's personal account. The court was told that $620 million were deposited into the same account from Tanov Finance Corp on 22nd March 2013. Datuk Seri Najib, 68, is facing 4 charges of abusing his position to obtain bribes amounting to 2.3 billion ringgit of 1MDB funds and 21 charges of money laundering for the same amount. The trial before High Court Judge Datuk Colin Lawrence Sequeira resumes next Monday. Defense counsel in the trial of the child abuse case involving Rumah Bonda founder Siti Bainun Ahmad Razali today accused witness Suhana Zam, 40, of conspiracy against the accused. The witness, however, denied the allegation that she and 4 of her friends were conspiring against Siti Bainun. During the proceeding, the lawyer, Nur Aminatul Mardia Matnur, accused the witness of lying over a series of WhatsApp conversations that had been tendered as evidence. She also accused Suhana of telling at least 16 lies, including in her sworn statement given during the trial. However, Suhana disagreed with the counsel and maintained she was telling the truth. Siti Bainun, 31, is charged with 2 counts of neglecting and abusing a 13-year-old with Down syndrome, known as Bella, to the point of causing the victim to suffer physical and emotional injuries. The offences were allegedly committed at a condominium in Wang Semaju between February and June 2021 under Section 31, Subsection 1, Subsection A of the Child Act 2001, which carries a jail sentence of up to 20 years or a fine of 50,000 ringgit, or both, upon conviction. The Sultan of Johor, Sultan Ibrahim Ibni Almarhum Sultan Iskandar, today reminded that the minimum age to be a Johor State Assemblyman still remained at 21. His Majesty did not give his consent to the Johor State Amendment Enactment 2021 to reduce the minimum age of election candidates, as the amendment is not in line with the direction of the government that wants leaders of high quality and knowledgeable.
Pada hemat saya, cadangan menurunkan had umur minimum tersebut adalah tidak selari dengan hala tuju kerajaan yang mahukan pemimpin berkualiti tinggi dan cukup ilmu pengetahuannya. Tetapi untuk menjadi ahli dewan, saya rasa mereka masih belum sesuai.
His Majesty, however, supported the right given to individuals aged 18 and above to cast their votes. Sultan Ibrahim said this when addressing the opening of the first meeting of the 15th State Legislative Assembly at Bangunan Sultan Ismail in Kota Iskandar today. On 6 January, the Johor State Legislative Assembly approved the enactment to reduce the minimum age of election candidates for the state seats from 21 years old to 18. Petroleum Nasional Berhad Petronas today introduced Gentari Sendiran Berhad, or Gentari, to accelerate the adoption and commercialization of clean energy. The national oil firm said the new entity aims to deliver a suite of renewable energy, hydrogen and green mobility solutions that are safe, responsible, cost-optimized and emissions abated by applying an integrated approach across the clean energy value chain for customers globally. Gentari Chairman Tengku Dato' Muhammad Taufik Tengku Aziz said Gentari would offer cleaner energy solutions to meet the energy needs and Malaysia's lower carbon aspirations and its customers at home and abroad, elevating the progress that Petronas has achieved to date under its existing new energy business and building on partnerships with next-generation energy and technology providers. Gentari will benefit from the immediate capacity and resources to pursue clean energy at an industrial scale, starting with Malaysia and Asia Pacific. By 2030, Gentari aspires to build a renewable energy capacity of 30 to 40 gigawatt, specifically in solar, with added opportunities in wind and battery storage. The company is also looking to supply up to 1.2 million tons per annum of hydrogen by leveraging competencies in developing large projects to achieve scale as a low-carbon hydrogen producer, beginning with projects in Malaysia. Global displacement number rises above 100 million. That and more coming up next. Russia's war in Ukraine has pushed global displacement numbers above 100 million for the first time, and the UN warns the resulting hunger crisis could force many more to flee their homes. According to United Nations Refugee Chief Filippo Grandi, efforts to address the global food insecurity crisis, which has been dramatically aggravated by Russia's invasion of Ukraine, is, quote, of paramount importance to prevent a larger number of people moving. Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, traditionally a breadbasket to the world, has sparked dramatic grain and fertilizer shortages, sent global prices soaring and put hundreds of millions of people at risk from hunger.
The figures remain, I think it's worth repeating them because they are staggering. 89 million is the figure, correct, Tarek, in the report related to 21. But even without Ukraine, we were already on a very high figure, unfortunately higher than the previous year. And this trend has been going on now for several years. Certainly since I've taken this job, every year there has been a higher displacement figure than the year before.
His comments came as he presented the UNHCR Refugee Agency's annual report on global displacement, showing that a record 89.3 million people were displaced at the end of 2021, more than doubling in a decade. But since Russia launched its full-scale invasion on 24th February, as many as 14 million Ukrainians may have fled within their own war-ravaged country or across borders as refugees, pushing global displacement past the grim of 100 million mark for the first time. French President Emmanuel Macron, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz and Italian Prime Minister Mario Draghi have taken the night train to join Ukraine capital Kyiv. France's ambassador to Kyiv, Etienne de Poncy, published on his Twitter account a photo published by the Italian daily La Repubblica paper of the three leaders in a train en route to Kyiv. The visit by the three European leaders comes as Ukraine once again pleaded for more weapons to fend off Russia advances in the south and the east. Major General Dmytro Marchenko, who leads Ukraine's forces in Mykolaiv, said his troops could achieve victory over Russia if they are given the right weapons. The trip has taken weeks to organize, with the three men looking to overcome criticism within Ukraine over their response to the war. The symbolic visit comes a day before the European Commission makes a recommendation on Ukraine's status as an EU candidate, something the biggest European nations have been lukewarm about and are set to discuss at a leaders' summit on 23rd to 24th June. One of two men arrested over the disappearance of a British journalist and an indigenous expert in the Brazilian Amazon confessed to having buried the pair in the jungle. Federal police said Wednesday after human remains were found. Tom Phillips and his guide Bruno Pereira went missing on 5th June in a remote part of the Amazon that is rife with environmental crimes, including illegal mining, fishing and logging, as well as drug trafficking. Police did not specify whether the suspect, Amarildo da Costa de Oliveira, also confessed to killing the pair, saying only that he admitted to having participated in the episode and recounted in detail the crime that was committed and indicated the place where he buried the bodies. Eduardo Alexandre Fontes, head of federal police in Brazil's Amazonas state, told a press conference that Oliveira said the two men were fatally shot. The location where the remains were found was very difficult to reach, the police officer said, in Manaus, the largest city in the Amazon. The other suspect, a man reported to be Oliveira's brother, Oseni da Costa Oliveira, was arrested Tuesday. In Atalaya do Norte, the city Phillips and Pereira were returning to when they disappeared in the Javari Valley after receiving threats during a trip. Police are also investigating the possible role of a third person. The two men's disappearance sparked global outrage, drawing reaction from high-profile political figures. And in sports, serious commitment made in upcoming Commonwealth Games. Stay with us. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Semasa will hold a discussion with the Football Association of Malaysia (FAM) next week before deciding on the type of incentive for the Harimau Malaya squad for their success in qualifying for the Asian Cup. Datuk Seri Semasa said he had not decided on whether to give the incentive directly to the players or to FAM.
Sebab saya dimaklumkan oleh FAM, Presiden FAM, mereka perlu mengadakan perlawanan persahabatan di luar negara lebih banyak sebelum Piala Asia dimulakan. Jadi kita dah jadi top 4 in ASEAN ini. Kalau kita bermain dengan pasukan yang lebih rendah kualitinya daripada Malaysia, dia tak akan membawa banyak perubahan kepada pasukan kita.
Datuk Seri Semasa said this when clarifying his statement yesterday that the government would consider rewarding the players and holding a celebration to mark Harimau Malaya's feat in qualifying on merit for the Asian Cup for the first time in 42 years. 2 days ago, the Harimau Malaya squad, coached by South Korean Kim Pang-gon, thrashed Bangladesh 4-1 in their last Group E match of the 2023 Asian Cup qualifiers to book their ticket to the final round. Malaysia collected 6 points to finish second behind group champions Bahrain and qualify for the finals as one of the top 5 runners-up. The target of 7 gold medals set by the Olympic Council of Malaysia (OCM) for the national contingent at the 2022 Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, England next month was not made for fun. On the other hand, Youth and Sports Minister Datuk Seri Ahmad Faizal Azumu said the decision was reached after in-depth research by OCM, the National Sports Council (NSC), and sports associations.
Saya tak mencampuri urusan berkenaan kerana tentunya pihak Majlis Olimpik, Persatuan-Persatuan Sukan Kebangsaan dan juga pihak MSN lebih tahu tentang prestasi atlet kita dan atlet-atlet lain yang mereka pantau sepanjang masa, dan saya hanya memberi dokongan dan menyiapkan dasar-dasar yang sesuai untuk memastikan prestasi atlet kita berada di tahap yang terbaik itu.
The 2022 Commonwealth Games will be held from 28 July to the 8th of August and is expected to see badminton taking home 2 gold medals, while gymnastics, field bowling, weightlifting and squash, as well as powerlifting through parasports, are each expected to win a gold medal. In the 2018 edition in Gold Coast, Australia, Malaysia finished 12th after winning 7 gold, 5 silver and 12 bronze, while the highest goal achievement was in the New Delhi 2010 edition, when the national contingent took home 12 gold, 10 silver and 14 bronze. That's it from us this evening. Wrapping up news at 10 with a reminder of our top story. Almost 10,000 candidates score straight A in SPM. Join us for more updates at 12:30 p.m. tomorrow. Till then, it's lights out. I'm Brenda Paul. Stay tuned to saluran Berita RTM and good night.